jump to this story. We got this from Fox News. Renee Good's wife claimed Minneapolis shooting was, quote, my fault in video amid anti-ICE fury. This is an interesting development in the story, and it paints a picture of what happened. The quick gist, of course, is that following this shooting, the individual who died, Renee Good's wife, is seen crying, saying, I made her come down here. It's my fault. Let me see if I can find the, here is, I made her come down here. It's my fault. Additionally, in the report, they state that Renee Good's family said she would never have been part of anything like that and described her as compassionate and non-confrontational. It sounds like this woman who was in her car, the reason why she attempted to flee was panic. She did accelerate towards the officer. The officer had been dragged before, likely feared for his life, opened fire on this woman. It seems like this woman in this vehicle was brought down and radicalized by this woman that she had been in a relationship with. My understanding is it's not actually her wife. They're reporting it as a de facto wife, meaning this reporting, it appears they're actually just in a relationship. They call each other wives.
Dating.
Okay. Well, yeah, social marriage, not a legit legal marriage, in which case it seems like this woman was in a relationship with this other woman, radicalized her, told her to come down and do this. When she's obstructing the road, these people are LARPing and they don't understand the consequences. They think they're playing a game. And so this doofy, dumb woman commits a felony, commits obstruction, radicalized by this woman who then breaks down and says, it's my fault. Now, the question is, people are going to push back and say, no, she's saying it's my fault like I wanted her to come with me. Not that it's my fault all of this happened. But no, quite literally, the woman is sitting there crying because she's dead, saying it's my fault I made her come down here. The point is, this woman blurted out that she told this woman to come down to commit a felony. And in the process of committing the felony, the woman was killed. And guess what? She likely has some culpability here. Now, the issue that we're seeing, there was an article in the New York Post discussing whether or not this ICE agent is going to face charges. And they said, likely no, because it was a clean shoot, albeit regrettable. And that has to be the stupidest assessment I've ever heard in my life. This dude could take a dump on a ham sandwich that was owned by a Democrat and they're going to lock him up. Okay? Let alone shoot a leftist protester. It doesn't matter what the law says. Okay? If a leftist protester punches you in the face 50 times, so you shove them, they will arrest you for shoving the leftist protester. So this guy's going to get charged. Now, apparently he fled the scene, but in any legitimate legal sense, this wife, I believe, has criminal culpability in encouraging an individual to commit a felony, resulting in her death.
Look, I understand your point, but I don't think that she's as innocent or as I don't think she was very naive. I don't think she was naive. I think that she kind of knew what was going on down there. She's alleged to be a member of the National Lawyers Guild. They're basically the legal arm of Antifa, funded by Soros. So whereas maybe she didn't, maybe she's not normally a protester. Maybe she's not, she doesn't interact with the police all the time, like the paid protesters or paid activists do, but I don't think that No, you're misunderstanding.
I'm not saying that this woman's never been an activist in her life and one day this woman said, come down and do this thing with me. I'm saying that you've got a broad scenario where the family doesn't understand why she would do something like this because over a period of time, recent, maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's a year, she was being radicalized by this woman who then told her to come down and engage in felony activity against law enforcement.
I think that she was already radical by nature, but
I don't. I think a 37-year-old white woman watched memes online from A-lister celebrities and did not realize placing a vehicle in front of a federal law enforcement officer puts a bullet in your face. Like
I said, if she's a lawyer,
these Antifa people understand they will be shot. This lady had no idea what she was doing. Otherwise, she would not have accelerated into an officer.
Like I said, I think that she's probably not familiar with protests and stuff like that. But at the same time, I don't think that she was ignorant of the situation because, like I said, if she is a lawyer,
you think that these middle-aged women are aware that they're going to get shot and killed?
I think that, honestly, I think that a lot of middle-aged women think they're above the law totally.
I think
in all contexts.
These people are LARPers who don't think it can happen. That's why when the police push them, they act like the apocalypse happened.
Yeah, I agree.
That's why when they get arrested, they say, I have not been read my rights. Yeah. Because they literally don't know what's going on.
I think that they think they're above the law.
The reason... No. When they
That's
say,
what I think.
My point is, when they say I have not been read my rights, it's not a question of above or below the law. They literally don't know what the law is.
Well, like I said, if she is a lawyer, she's aware of what the law is.
Clearly, she's not.
Not aware?
This woman in the car who tried to flee from federal officers? I mean, in what reality, if she actually escaped, was she going to get away with it?
No, I'm not. I mean, she wouldn't. But just because
that's the point.
Just because she made a dumb decision doesn't mean that she wasn't aware. Like,
my
people make dumb
point
decisions
is,
all the time.
it seems more likely that she is an ignorant woman radicalized by memes and a significant other who didn't understand the severity of the action she was getting involved in. Her family didn't think she would do something like this, committing a felony and then trying to flee. This is a woman radicalized by A-list celebrities and memes, and a woman said, come down and do this. It is a snowflake in the avalanche. There have been no consequences for these leftists, so a middle-aged white woman who has no idea how severe this is, engaging federal law enforcement, thought she was going to accelerate and flee the scene after committing a felony. Now, that is beyond ignorant, okay? I watch these videos on Instagram where you see a dude and a motorcycle going 100 miles an hour on the highway fleeing cops, and you're like, yeah, you're not getting away.
No, you can't outrun a radio, no.
Or a helicopter.
Yeah.
This woman doesn't understand what she's getting involved in. Antifa activists who organize this literally do and plan for this. And it is my opinion, her death was a contingency these activists hoped for and planned for. What we know about how Antifa organizes in the far left is that they code people they bring to these events by color, red, yellow, and green. Green marked individuals are like her. Well, she might be green coded. The idea of the green, these are people who form the mass. You want them to get arrested intentionally. You trick them into getting arrested. Why? It radicalizes them. The yellow are the activists who are in the front leading the charge, and the red are the direct action people who hide in the crowd and instigate the fights to cause the violence. The way these plans work is you invite a bunch of doofy college kids to a protest and say it's a peaceful march. The plan they actually have, and I've seen these planning meetings during Occupy Wall Street and the various activities over the past 10 years. The direct action groups have a secret secondary meeting, a direct action planning, where they literally say, how do we maximize police brutality and arrests of the green category? If we can get 100 college kids who have no idea what's going on to show up and march, punch a cop, how many of them will get beaten and arrested? They intentionally want you to show up to get arrested. Why? Because then when you go to jail, they say, why are the cops doing this to you, you poor innocent victim? This woman is on the front lines, clearly having no idea what's going on, nor understanding the felonies she is committing, and then she tries to flee. And in doing so, put an officer in fear for his life, and he killed her. This is a contingency activists hope for. In these meetings, they want martyrs, and they got it, and now they have nationwide riots and protests.
In the same way that we have a moral compass, right? We have a moral compass. We have a system of values that guides everything that we do. Marxists and communists don't have that. Their system of values is, what can we do that's going to get us closer to the revolution? What can we do that's going to get us closer to the rebellion? So they attack the law enforcement instead of attacking the law. They undermine the Constitution because it's nationalism, and that's the worst thing that they can possibly think of. Communists want to overthrow the family, religion, history, truth, nations. And so anything that they can do to get a little bit closer to that, to break down the fabric of America a little bit more, they're going to do that. And we're seeing this, and this is just a sacrifice for the revolution. That's how they see her.
I have been to many an activist meeting, and I have been, one of my favorite stories that I've told quite a bit is during an Occupy Wall Street protest where they were chanting, anticapitalista. That's what they chant, right? Well, there was one guy who was going, blah, nabi, agiba dabastida. He was just saying gibberish. And I'm not even kidding. It's not an exaggeration. And I was live streaming. So if you want to go find the Ustream, if it still exists, you can see it. And I asked him, I was like, what are you chanting? And he goes, oh, I'm just chanting with the crowd. And I was like, yeah, but what were you saying? And he was like, oh, I'm just, chanting. And I was like, no, what are the words? He's like, oh, I don't know. He didn't even know he was chanting anti-capitalist. These were college kids who came down to Occupy Wall Street, many of whom were tricked because the occupier said Radiohead was going to come play a concert. Not a joke. Literally happened. 2,000 people showed up being told Radiohead was playing a free concert at the park. These weren't activists. They were doofs who were like, cool, Radiohead. Then the activists say, we have to go march. People just say, okay, I guess are walking down the street. All of a sudden, they're getting whacked by cops. What happens next? They get arrested. The NYPD pulls out the orange kettling net. That's what they call it, the kettling net. Surround them, wrap them up, put them on a bus, send them to holding. Now you've got a 20-year-old young woman who was looking for a Radiohead concert, who has no idea why she was arrested, and the cops are callous. The cops are like, shut up, you're under arrest. So they have no idea what's going on. Then the activists come in to radicalize, and they say, aren't they evil? You didn't even do anything. You were just walking down the street and they attacked you. Why don't you sing songs with us? We're friends now. Here's my phone number. That's how they recruit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that you're wrong in any of that stuff. It's just in this context, like I said, if she's a lawyer, I think that she probably was at least aware of how things kind of went, especially that with that National Lawyers Guild. You know, they're in contact with Antifa. The
National Lawyers Guild aren't necessarily lawyers.
Yeah, well, they're activists, right?
The National Lawyers Guild has observers who are not lawyers.
Okay, well, so
a legal observer is the person who's wearing a hat. And it's a non-sanctioned distinction where a person says, I'm actually just observing. It's meaningless. The police can arrest you all the same. Your hat does nothing.
Fair enough.
It's like a press pass. So I don't know that she was actually a lawyer.
Fair enough. So if she isn't, then you could be right. But like I said, if she was, my perspective on it is that she's not as much of an innocent bystander as other people might think. I think that
I just think if the argument is middle-aged white women are actually planning the murder of federal agents.
No, that's not the argument at all. The argument is that she was there thinking that she was going to go and she was going to help the Somali immigrants. She was going to get in the way of ICE because ICE are the bad guys. And I do think you're right that she was, believes the line.
You're saying that she did not, she did believe she would be shot and killed if she engaged law enforcement?
No, I'm saying that I don't think so at all. I think that liberal white women tend to think they're above the law. I think that, and there's a lot of it'll never happen to me. Right. That doesn't happen to me. That happens to other people. So I don't think that she did. I honestly don't think that she was trying to run the cop down.
I think we're just talking past each other because my point is she was radicalized intentionally to come down to obstruct ICE.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand that committing felonies against ICE result in death.
Yeah, and I think what you guys are both...
Yeah.
We're saying the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think what you guys are both getting at is that even if she does have some association with the Lawyers Guild and these sorts of things, these people ultimately still have this sort of cocktail activism style where they really think that they can do these
luxury beliefs.
Yeah, but like cocktail activism where there's a degree of edginess to it. They do know they're being a bit abrasive, but they don't expect like serious consequences for these things. They just expect maybe at the worst they'll get a mugshot, and then they can flaunt that.
Yeah, and you can put
they don't expect to get shot. So yeah, I think that's sort of really what's going on here. So even if she is maybe in these sort of Antifa adjacent organizations, I think even those people still underrate the moment that we're in and that this is a new paradigm and that the Trump administration really is, Trump himself is, I would probably assume like paranoid of having another 2020 replay. And all the actions he's made thus far indicate that he is really serious about putting a lid on this before it does escalate into Summer of Love 2.0.
The principal activists who are career activists wanted her to die to create a martyr. Mm-hmm. But most of the frontline people, because these leftists don't put themselves in these positions, don't understand that they've seen so much leftists. They genuinely don't believe they're going to get shot.
Yeah.
They don't think they're doing anything other than expressing their First Amendment, despite the fact she was committing, I think, 2 different felonies.
Well, these people think that, they think that everything up to and including pushing police officers is an expression of your First Amendment. They think that they can assault police officers and get away with it because they're just there protesting. I'm at a protest, so I'm protesting.
Right.
It doesn't matter that I'm throwing rocks at the cops, right?
Yeah. Well, and these people are also in a different world. Like, we have to keep in mind, like, this isn't Dallas, this isn't Houston, this isn't Miami. Like, Minneapolis, these people literally remember 5 years ago when they were allowed to do whatever they wanted, and there was literally no pushback whatsoever. So these people are also just in a completely different world being in Minneapolis.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.